Welcome to the Method Raid Guide. My name is Stina, and in this video we will be taking a look at the Spine of Deathwing Heroic mode, the hardest encounter in Dragon Soul. The fight is essentially the same as normal mode, the key points being Sig maximization of damage on tendon reveals, interrupting corruptions, controlled killing and soaking of the blood of Deathwing, a few barrel rolls here and there, and new to Heroic, the dispelling of blood corruption death. On Heroic mode, the tendon has 39.3 million hit points. The hideous amalgamation, corruption, and blood of Deathwing have 30.6 million hit points, 2.5 million hit points, and 900,000 hit points respectively. For the raid setup, you are looking to bring 5 healers, 3 tanks, ideally one of which is a protection warrior for blood taunting and kiting. The DPS makeup should be composed for single target damage due to the emphasis being on tendon phases. We took a lot of mages and rogues for our early kills. In Heroic, adds and abilities are almost the same as in normal mode, but with drastic increases to add hit points, notably the tendon, and damage done, notably the blood of Deathwing, making the fight a lot more difficult. There are, however, some new entries. Blood Corruption, a dispellable debuff that takes on 2 forms, a positive and a negative. The negative being Blood Corruption Death, and the positive being Blood Corruption Earth. Blood Corruption is applied to a random raid member when a hideous amalgamation is spawned, and always starts as its negative form Death. When dispelled, it will jump to another player and random between Death and Earth. The timer on this debuff is not refreshed, however, and will continue to tick down from the original 16 seconds when first applied. Ideally, you are looking to place Blood Corruption Earth on the tanks, because as mentioned in the description, the debuff turns into a buff called Blood of Netharian once the timer runs out, giving a 20% damage reduction. However, this isn't always in your control. If the timer is low, you're forced to accept Earth on whoever it is currently on, as any more bounces of the debuff would be too risky. Another new ability on Heroic mode is the raid-wide stacking debuff Degradation, reducing your maximum hit points by 5% per stack. A stack is applied every time a hideous amalgamation dies, so by the time you reach the end of the fight, you will have minus 30% hit points on the entire raid. At the fight start, have a Cancel Aura Parachute macro ready, so that you drop onto the spine instantly, allowing corruptions to be killed faster and reducing the Searing Plasma debuff on the raid. You want to DPS down the front 2 corruptions first. The back 2 corruptions will not start casting Searing Plasma straight away due to gripping the NPCs from the gunship. Remember that once you have killed a corruption and a hideous amalgamation spawns, a random raid member will receive the Blood Corruption Death debuff. You'll need to have a healer specifically assigned to take care of the dispelling. We spread our DPS on the 2 front corruptions, and then everyone focuses on the back left corruption, which upon death we follow with a barrel roll on the left. Remember to make sure you always let the hideous amalgamation spawn before doing the barrel roll. Kill the remaining corruption and have the first tank pick up the hideous amalgamation. Your second tank, in our case the protection warrior, will pick up the bloods. In terms of positioning, you want the amalgamation on one side and the bloods on the other side, away from the corruption to avoid AoE damage hitting it. The raid will most likely need to hold the DPS on the amalgamation, as the spawn time on the bloods isn't that fast to start with. Bring the amalgamation low, approximately 500,000 to 1 million hit points, and then ensure 9 bloods have been killed. A careful watch needs to be kept on the fiery grip timer of the corruption, as ideally the amalgamation is dragged into the bloods 5 seconds before the cast begins. This will ensure you have time to interrupt the fiery grip before the tendon reveals itself, while also ensuring you won't have another grip during the reveal. Interrupting the corruptions when they cast fiery grip is a key part of the fight. You are required to do 16% of a corruption's max hit points to interrupt the grip, and DPS should be assigned to do this without overkilling, as doing so would mess up the timing of amalgamation spawns and the fiery grips. We typically use 5 Archmages for this purpose, but other compositions will work. just be aware that you only want to do 16% of the max hit points and not much more than that, so no dodge should be used. Just before a tendon reveal, the corruption should have had its last fiery grip interrupted, and it should be on very low hit points, typically 50 to 100,000. At this stage, a dot can be placed on it to ensure that it simply dies before casting the next grip. Once the first armor plate is destroyed, there will be 3 corruptions up. The current corruption that spawned during the second tendon reveal, and 2 new corruptions where the armor plate used to be. The melee DPS should focus on the current corruption, with the ranged DPS focusing on the front corruption that is on the same side as the current corruption. So if the current corruption is left, then the ranged should focus on the front left corruption. The side in which the corruptions are killed will be the side that you do barrel roll on. This assignment remains the same for when the second armor plate is also destroyed. Dealing with the second armor plate is very similar to that of the first, but with blood spawning at a faster rate. The assignments and such remains the same. Just be careful that you don't kill too many bloods at the same time, as they can do considerable burst damage, especially when raid members have searing plasma. You also don't want to be killing more blood than what is needed for the amalgamation, 9 in total. It is worth mentioning that if DPS on the tendon reveals is tight, then it is possible for the raid DPS to use their potions at this stage of the fight, as you are going to have heroism for the final armor plate. At the third armor plate, corrupted bloods are going to begin spawning rapidly. The protection warriors should start kiting the bloods that have been gathered while continually picking up new bloods that spawn. The kiting of the blood will involve using leap, life grip, stuns and so on, so make sure you have a kite path determined before pulling. You can check out the warrior class guide on our forums for some more info on this. While the kiting is going on, the third tank, in our case the Feral Druid, finally gets some action. This third tank taunts corrupted bloods that are low from the kiting warrior, alongside a Death Knight who also grips low blood to the third tank. Basically, this third tank will be the tank that handles blood killing, while the other tank that currently has the hideous amalgamation will simply off-tank any bloods that are in the raid untanked. Make sure your raid, especially the healers, are close enough to make picking these bloods up quick and easy. The raid keeps DPSing the amalgamation, grips keeps being handled by the damage dealers assigned, and you blow heroism on the first tendon opening. Keep kiting, keep tanking bloods, keep breaking grips, and the boss should be dead on the second open. The boss in short is basically: kill 2 corruptions after each burning tendon is dead, the one currently up and the one on the same side, then do a barrel roll on that side. Break grips as soon as possible, kite bloods at the third plate, burn all your cooldowns at the tendons, and don't kill more than 9 corrupted bloods per amalgamation. The fight is very long and very boring, but make sure you try and stay happy throughout the entire fight, and it's fairly simple. I hope you have found this video guide enjoyable and useful. For individual class tips for Spine and every other boss in Dragon Soul Heroic, please see the class guides posted at methodwow.com. If you have any questions regarding the guide or the fight, then please do not hesitate to ask on our forums. We will be more than willing to help you out in any way we can. Thanks for watching.